Greetings and welcome, travelers. Momentarily, we visit the city of Simonia, the capital of Fargyle, one of 5 distinct regions within the realm of Cretinea. Our group of soon-to-be adventurers are about to embark on a journey that could not only change the course of their lives, but also the destiny of Cretinea itself. But before our story begins, please click like, subscribe, and ring the notifications bell. It takes but a moment for you and assures you'll remain up to date on all related content. Or perhaps you're looking for more information about our players' characters or the campaign world. If so, just click the links in the description below. Otherwise, for the rest of us, without any further ado, it is now autumn and our players' characters have just finished their last semester of their final year of school. They meet at their favorite tavern, the Lizard's Gizzard, to share drinks and pleasantries and to plot their next moves now that they have graduated. With palpable excitement in the air, the world felt full of adventure and opportunity.
Well, I tell yous, it feels plumb good to be done with all that learning. Been cooped up so long, I'm just itching for some action. How about you, Elton?
Indeed. Barmaid, another round. So, Alia, did you have Mr. Habbage for your wilderness survival course? Some say his strict teaching style can leave a mark.
Yeah. Thankfully, some troublemakers in class took most of his attention. I'd spend most of the time reprimanding them during practical exams. In hindsight, I had it pretty easy compared to some.
Or maybe you're just that good, little lady. Tracking? Navigation? Easy to some, but not me, no sir. I swear, sometimes I'd get myself lost just trying to find the latrine.
What's that? Oh, Jacques says he once had a girlfriend named Latrine.
You're crazy, Orson, but I like ya. Oh, and Jacques too.
Just then,
There you are. I was told I could find you all here.
they are interrupted by the arrival of a royal courier who carries a note bearing the seal of the king. With growing curiosity, they open the letter to discover that their favorite teacher from elementary, Professor Hoffenrichter, had recently passed and some of his prior students are being summoned to the palace to pay their respects. Despite their sadness at hearing the news, the young friends can't help but wonder what may have happened to their old teacher and what other surprises or opportunities for adventure might lay ahead.
We'll be back after these messages.
Hi, do you need a ride? Maybe just a lift through town? Perhaps you're just too drunk to find your house. Hire an escort through the Simonian Guard. We have wagons stationed by both gates and near Town Hall, which all patrol daily. Journey not feeling safe? Got some valuables on your person? Well then, don't risk it. Hire a Simonian escort today, and we'll get you on your way.
That's right, folks. Opening their new location in the heart of the city. Find collections from the latest and most esteemed designers. Using only the finest in Simonian leather, satin, and silks. We're all about meeting the public's demand. Subverting trends and exceeding expectations. Raymond Farrell's fine linens and gay apparel. Visit our new store on 21st and 5th. Get in with the latest fashions. Or get out.
No matter who you are, or where you come from, there is a place for you here at the Church of Apollo. Yea, be joyful in life, have patience in destiny, and be forever faithful in prayer. The Church of Apollo. Join now or burn in eternal hellfire.
Wow, poor Professor Hoffenrichter. Makes me wish I would have visited him again sooner. Always figured there'd be time again after graduation.
I know. He was a much better teacher than many ever gave him credit for.
Indeed.
Well, if you ask me, I always thought he was a bit scatterbrained or disorganized, but then again,
can't say I might have even passed half of my classes if it weren't for old Orson here, letting me copy over his shoulder and all.
Oh, we didn't mind, did we, Jacques?
Which was muskrat for...
Speak for yourself. I worked hard for my doctorate.
All right, guys, we're almost there. Clem, straighten out that collar, would you? And Orson, put the Jacques, away for now, okay?
All right. Into the sack you go, Jacques.
The four friends pass through the west courtyard and approach one of the entryways into the palace. A flight of about a dozen stone steps lead to a Ramada-style covered entrance, which in turn opens up into the palace foyer. As they make their way up the stairs, they are stopped by two guards.
So let me guess, you four are here to clean the belfry, am I right?
Nah, come on, Jerry, not today. They're obviously the kids we were told about.
Yeah, fine. Well, welcome, youngsters. We were informed you'd be arriving soon. Y'all can wait here on the steps with me, while Sir Thomas informs the Burgermeister of your arrival.
What? Fine, but I better not find you harassing these kids again.
Sir Thomas heads into the foyer and proceeds up the stairwell leading to the Burgermeister's office, while Sir Jerry stands watch from atop the stone steps.
Well, I suppose I'll just pop a squat right about here.
Yeah, me too. Good idea, Clem.
So, is it Jerry that's watching us? Am I able to ask him anything?
Of course. In fact, as you look towards him and make eye contact, he initiates a conversation with you.
Holy night, huh? I can see by the crest of Apollo on your doublet. Just graduated, I take it?
Indeed. I hope to make the church proud as I work to embody all their teachings.
Yeah, well.
So, Jerry, did you happen to know Professor Hoffenrichter? Or any idea on how he passed?
No, I can't say I knew him personally or knew what happened, but the name does sound familiar. I believe he was discharged from teaching a year or two ago, but I could be thinking of someone else.
Can we tell if Jerry is telling the truth? Or does he look like he's hiding something from us?
Roll an insight check.
13.
As the guard converses with Elton, you try to watch his facial expressions. You see him breaking eye contact and checking the foyer over his shoulder. He doesn't look that invested in what Elton is actually saying, not seeming dishonest so much as disinterested.
Oh, okay. I'll just sit and wait then, or maybe make small talk with Clem and Orson. I don't want to pester the guard if he doesn't seem talkative.
For now, then, the party continues to wait as Sir Jerry stands watch from atop the steps.
Ooh, yeah. Featuring the best quality pipe weed, hashish, and chewing tobacco. Big Red's Hookah Lounge, ready to meet all your recreational and carnal needs. Whether you care to sample our newest product or stick with Big Red's original blend, come see what the town's been talking about and enjoy sensual smoke sessions in one of our public or private rooms. And lose yourself, yeah, at Big Red's Hookah Lounge. Now that's smooth.
And now, back to D&V.
Eventually, the Burgermeister appears at the top of the steps, followed by Sir Thomas, who is dragging a small wooden crate. The box is placed before the party, as the guard begins to unlatch and open its lid. The town master, a fairly rotund human with wine stains and fresh food crumbs adorning his beard, introduces himself and verifies each of the characters' names.
Yes, you are all listed right here. Let's see. Due to unpaid taxes and an inability to locate the current tenant for longer than 100 days, the Kingdom Rules Hans Davidian Hoffenrichter has defected or nobly perished. Having no living heirs to assume the debt, ownership over his property shall be transferred back to his lordship, the king. This is taking much too long. My apologies, children, but as the town master, I'm sure you realize I have much more important work to attend to.
Either Sir Thomas or Sir Jerry can arrange transport to the property if desired, and any questions you have can be directed towards them or submitted in writing. So again, my congratulations. My condolences.
The Burgermeister drops the scroll he was reading from into the open crate and then returns to his chambers.
This is what was recovered from the old man's place. Take what you want. Anything you don't will be donated to the church. And as far as going to the property, we can make arrangements for you. You know, in case you want to pay your respects or salvage anything.
The open crate now sits before the group. Inside they see a dirty pair of boots with elvish script on the heels, 3 smooth rocks which they recognize as sending stones, a small egg-shaped flute made of clay, and the unrolled parchment the Burgermeister was reading from.
Well, sir, I suppose I could always use another pair of boots.
Ooh, I'll take the flute since I'm proficient. Or what do the sending stones do?
In your experience, sending stones typically work like two-way radios. This set, however, is a little different. After fiddling with them for a few moments, you think they could be damaged or flawed somehow. There are 3 stones in total, 2 of which seem to both transmit and receive messages normally. But the 3rd stone has a large crack, and all messages received through it sound loud and distorted.
Well, they look like they might be useful for something.
So, the scroll the town master was reading from. I picked that up to inspect and see if there is anything else on it.
Sure, here is the note in its entirety. Dear Sir Burgermeister and Chairman of the Executive Council, in the name of our Lord and Noble King, the following has been deemed in accordance with Simonian law. Due to unpaid taxes and an inability to locate the current tenant for longer than 100 days, the kingdom rules that Hans Davidian Hoffenrichter has either defected or unnobly perished. Having no living heirs to assume the debt, ownership over the property at 42 Mudshire Lane shall be transferred back to his lordship, King Orion O'Doyle. The premises were found to be in disarray and no inhabitants could be located. A few loose articles were salvaged, along with a painting and several names that were recovered from various documents inside. I suspect most are students whom the tenant was likely fond of or analogous with. See that the following individuals be contacted should they still reside in Simonia: Alia Stillhart, Alcrive Schmidt, Clem Clemens, Elton Johnsonberg, Fracas Silverbones, Lamlin Thornbushel, Millie Earbender,
and Orson Calcite. Any failure or refusal to respond will result in them forfeiting any possible inheritance, including the bequeathed personal articles collected herein. Furthermore, the inheritors will have no more than 10 days to salvage any other keepsakes from the dwelling, and procure the necessary 1,300 gold and penalties for reclamation of rights to the property. Glory for home, and honor for one's leaders. Signed, Sir Edric Reginald Farnsworth, Captain of the Royal Vanguard.
Of course you weren't mentioned, Jacques. You took interpretive dance as an elective.
So, there are more students mentioned here. Are there more people showing up?
Actually, the other 2 kids just left before you all got here. Or wait, was it 2 or was it 3?
Nah, I think it was 3, remember? As soon as we told them the address, they split, despite telling them to stay here while I grabbed the boss.
Well, sir, I reckon we ought to get moving ourselves, especially if we want to catch up to them.
Indeed. So, Jerry, did you say that you could take us to the property?
No, not me personally, but we can get you a ride with the next patrol wagon if you'd like. It should be here within about an hour. Otherwise, the address is about 2 miles west of here if you plan on walking.
All right, let's get a ride then, and we can gather any other equipment we might need while we're waiting.
Hey there, travelers. Remember to like and subscribe to the page, and support us on Patreon to unlock exclusive perks.
Yeah, that's right, Thomas. For less than the cost of a cup of coffee, you too can help fund the continuing adventures in Cretinea. Besides, what's a little coin between friends, especially when looking to express gratitude for all the fine times shared together? In fact, I can't rightly think of a reason not to support.
Yeah, Jerry. Now let's get back to the show, before the boss catches us slacking off again.
Those who need to, head home and grab any required supplies. You all should now have everything on you that is listed on your character sheet. As you all return to the palace, you find the 2-horse patrol wagon waiting for you. The 2 drivers in the wagon talk with Sir Jerry and receive the address of Professor Hoffenrichter's hovel.
Yeah, I imagine they'd be moseying back here about now.
Is that them?
Yep, There they are. Load up in the back, kids. We better get moving if we want to get back before dark.
The party loads into the back of the uncovered wagon, and they are driven westward through the city by the two official escorts. The drivers keep to themselves as the friends share stories about their old teacher and take notice of the city's dreary state. In the past, the streets of Simonia were packed full of merchants selling and sampling goods, and performers entertaining the masses within nearly every pavilion and local tavern. Now, the streets nearly barren. Business is struggling, and not a minstrel in sight to lift the spirits of the common folk. The constant jostling of the cobblestone streets sends reverberations throughout the wagon, causing you all to frequently bump into one another. The wind brings forth a malodorous scent of dead grass and fresh manure
as the party approaches the west gate.
The massive scale of Simonia's outer wall becomes painfully apparent. Nearly 80-foot-tall stone walls and parapeted guard towers surround the inner city and separate it from the outer slums and the farmlands to the north. The two massive reinforced gates at each end of the city are the only ways in or out of town, with the exception of through the docks on the southern border. The wagon reaches the gate leading to the slums, and the drivers exchange some words with the guards stationed up at the tower.
Halt! Halt! Who goes there? Wait, you two again?
Yep, it's us again, Carl.
Where y'all off to?
Got a few kids wanting to visit that old shack on Mudshire Lane before it gets reclaimed next week.
Oh, I see. Well, you know the rules. Be back before dark unless you want to get written up again.
Sure thing, Carl. Be back soon.
Off you go.
As the wagon exits the inner city, the dirt path leads to the west slums, comprised of tightly packed homes for displaced migrants and camps of various other travelers who are likely unable to afford official lodging within the city.
A few campfires can be seen in the distance, and the smell of smoke still lingers on the road. It has been a few days since the last good rain, though the earth remains damp underfoot due to your close proximity to the coast. The combination of humid air and glaring sunlight through sparse clouds detract from the cool autumn breeze. After about 30 minutes of travel through the slums, the number of camps and placement of standing structures becomes fewer and further between. The path begins to veer closer to the shore and trace the coastline. Within minutes, a small shack or dilapidated hovel can be seen between the road's end and the shoreline. The two escorts begin to reposition the wagon so that it faces east, and they steady the horses. From this vantage point, the outer walls of Simonia can still be seen nearly a mile away as the sun continues to descend.
This is as close as we get. Yeah, I'll tell you, Pete, the mud out here is the worst.
Yep, we'll wait for y'all here, but try to make it quick. It can be dangerous out here after dark.
The party makes their way through the mud and towards the hovel, as one of the escorts stands beside the wagon and packs his tobacco pipe. A rectangular building of modest construction stands abandoned and in disrepair, and with a foundation partially sunk into the beach sand.
The roof and walls are constructed from roughly cut timber, driftwood, and moldy planks likely salvaged from shipwrecks. There are many cracks and seams in the walls due to its shoddy construction, and it looks like part of the roof has collapsed. No windows, just a single wooden door can be seen, slightly unhinged with its lower corner wedged into the sand. There are words carved into it, but they are initially covered up with an official notice of foreclosure.
The breeze picks up, causing the door to waver and clack against the frame, yet the party is still unable to see inside the hovel from this vantage point. They remove the official notice pinned to the door and reveal the carved message. Opportunity knocks. The party experiences a state of déjà vu, as they recall Professor Hoffenrichter having many similar sayings he would repeat in class. Instinctively, Clem knocks on the slightly ajar door, forcing it to swing open into the hovel.
Knock, knock. Anybody home?
With the door now completely open,
The party is able to get a clearer view of the inside. The walls are constructed like patchwork, interlaced and overlapping with driftwood and salvaged planks. The current position of the setting sun allows the party to easily see outside and through the many cracks, seeing a trail of pipe smoke arising from the escorts in the wagon. There is a stone fireplace against the opposite wall, with a chimney that has collapsed along with part of the roof itself. Mud, leaves, and stones from the chimney now litter the wooden floor of the main room, in addition to numerous soiled papers scattered about.
I'd like to examine some of the papers and see if any are readable.
Some are so soiled that they are completely illegible, but you examine what you can. There are many notices threatening foreclosure and mentioning taxes being unpaid. Judging by the dates and the amount of undisturbed mold, the party estimates it's unlikely anyone has spent a significant amount of time in here in several months. Alia notices a soiled parchment with the professor's signature, and another mentioning several students by name.
Hey, guys, let's start gathering up as many papers as we can. Maybe find a clue as to what may have happened to Hoffenrichter.
You all begin to gather papers on the floor. The party then starts to arrange them into different piles in an attempt to separate the trash from possible clues to the professor's whereabouts.
So, is the building just one big room?
Besides the main room you currently occupy, there are two smaller rooms to the rear of the fireplace. One is an empty pantry with collapsed roof and shelving, and the other seems to be a bedroom with a cot made of straw and something small scurrying inside of it. The smell of rat feces, mildew, and mold permeate the air throughout the entire dwelling. After gathering up the papers, they notice a nest in the corner of the main room. Inside, they see fragments of reptilian eggshells and bright red feathers about 10 inches long. After noticing several scratch marks on the floorboards surrounding the nest and on the support beams near the hole in the roof, the party deduces a large feathered creature must have entered through the collapsed ceiling to snack on whatever nested here. After finding nothing of interest in the back two rooms, the party returns to the main room again. Deja vu strikes them a second time as they see the reverse side of the now partially closed front door. The words, "Where you least expect," are carved into it.
The following advertisement has been paid for in part by the representatives of the Simonian Guard and the Fargyle Alliance.
Adventure. Excitement. Career opportunities. And limitless possibility. More excitement. The power to discover, to redefine yourself, and experience exhilaration. Excitement again. Opportunities to challenge yourself. Get the best tools, the best training. Aiming to reach your full potential and experience even more excitement. The Simonian Guard is waiting for you. Ask your local courthouse or representative how you can join today and truly start making a difference.
Hey, now back to DMV.
The party now recalls the phrase commonly said by their old teacher, and even remember a locked cabinet in their old classroom with the same message inscribed on it. Opportunity knocks where you least expect it. This time, it is Elton who tries knocking, but on the reverse side of the door. After a few knocks, Alia and Clem approach the door as well, while Orson happens to mutter aloud.
Opportunity knocks where you least expect it.
As the final word leaves Orson's mouth and Elton's knuckles knock a fourth of its time, his arm enters into a small compartment of interdimensional space housed within the wooden door. Although its contents and shape are invisible to the naked eye, Elton searches the small rectangular compartment and touches something that feels like a rolled-up scroll. Slightly in shock, the party attempts opening and closing the door with their friend's arm still inside the pocket dimension. Elton quickly withdraws his hand, holding on to the rolled-up parchment for fear of the portal closing and injuring his arm. Thankfully, nothing harmful happens as the wooden door moves, or as Elton retracts his hand, still holding on to the rolled-up paper. Instead, the compartment becomes visible to everyone inside for just an instant, then slowly dissipates out of sight and from existence. The party even tries speaking the words and knocking several more times, but are unable to get the magical compartment to reappear. All of this commotion around the front door has caught the attention of the two escorts.
Hey, you all about done? Come on, hurry up. We ain't got all night.
Aw, now, Skeeter. Poor kids are grieving. Give them some time. We got a few more minutes before we gotta get going.
Fine. All right. 5 more minutes, kiddos. Then we got to skedaddle.
The friends all huddle around inside the hovel and unroll the parchment. It looks to be a crudely drawn map of this area of the coast, and there is a marked path connecting only 2 circled locations. One seems to be this structure on the beach, and the other seems to be at the base of a hillside, possibly a mile or further down the coast towards the west. Feeling short on time, and not wanting to elude their findings to the guards, the party decides it would be best to return to the hovel later, when alone and better prepared to follow this map. Elton stows the map, and the others continue to gather as many of the legible notes from the ground as they can. On their way out, they try to return the door to its prior positioning and pack some dirt along the base to keep it shut. As they turn to walk away, the party members all get a peculiar feeling like someone is watching them leave, or more specifically, like someone or something may have been inside with them the entire time. They trudge through the mud and back towards the wagon, where Skeeter taps the ashes from his pipe rather forcefully against the bottom of his boot.
About time. Thought we were gonna have to come in after you.
All right, lay off him, Skeeter. Just load into the back, kids. We better get moving if we're gonna make it back before dark.
Sitting in the back of the uncovered wagon, the party members watch the hovel disappear from their sight as they travel further up the road and back towards the gate leading to the city. While Elton is double-checking his pack for the map they just found, he notices something written on the reverse side of it. It reads, "Till morrow's debt renown, lest we forget, queen and crown." The same phrase is also found atop at least one scrap of paper recovered from the hovel. The other party members casually try to examine a few of the soiled notes. Although they are largely unreadable due to smeared ink and deterioration, some pages' meanings are able to be roughly deciphered. There is one note that looks like a recipe including apples, one that is a numbered list, but the numbers are not in order. Another looks like it could be sheet music with a progression of chords and Hoffenrichter's signature. And at least 3 different notes include lines from either poems or possibly song lyrics from his performance class. When examining the notes that have students' names mentioned, most look like rough draft assignments and progress reports. The party theorizes that this contributed to how the kingdom must have gotten the names of them and the other students that were mentioned in the initial summons. A strong breeze picks up suddenly and blows several of the recovered pages out of the party members' hands. They all scramble to catch what they can, but a few manage to slip through their grasp and sail away from the wagon, high into the air and back towards the direction of the hovel.
I hope that wasn't someone's homework, 'cause we ain't going back.
Aw, Skeeter, behave now. Though we really can't go back now, kids. We've delayed long enough, and these roads can be dangerous after dark.
That's right, kids. Fierce beasts and vicious monsters lurk in these parts. Dragons and demons and giants, all aiming to gobble up little brats that stay out past their bedtime.
Now, Skeeter, you know that's not true. No need to give these poor kids nightmares, and you know damn well there's not been a dragon in these parts in nearly a decade. Now, thieves or highway bandits, on the other hand, that is what you gotta worry about, especially after dark.
Yeah, bandits. In fact, it wasn't too far from here that the Queen was kidnapped and murdered by bandits a few winters back.
Now, Skeeter.
What? It's true. It was on the main road just north of here.
Wait, so she was kidnapped or murdered?
Yeah, and what did the king do?
Well, they say the bandits hijacked the carriage, you know, looking for nobility to rob. But when they realized they had the actual queen in their possession, well, they knew they could extract even more from the kingdom.
Yeah, for weeks the king's court will receive demands from the bandits, asking them to deliver gold, jewels, and weapons to various locations if they ever wanted to see their beloved queen again.
Yep, and despite the king meeting all the demands, they still never returned the queen.
Is there any chance she's still alive?
For many years, folk believe the queen may still be out there. Some say she's still imprisoned, or some think she faked her own death to escape the kingdom, but I doubt it. No, they were happy, and the kingdom never quite flourished like it did back when she was still around.
So, King O'Doyle just gave up after that? That easily?
By no means. The king sent dozens of search parties to scour every corner of Fargyle and beyond. They say that proof of the queen's demise eventually arrived in a gilded box that appeared mysteriously in the castle one evening. What was in the box, well, no one really knows, but they say the king looked truly mortified when he opened it. He retreated to his chambers, still holding the box, and did not emerge for several days. Even now, he is rarely seen carousing outside the castle walls like he used to.
Yeah, and what was actually in the box? Well, your guess is as good as mine. Nobody but the king knows for sure, but you might think a piece of jewelry or family heirloom, but nah. A body part maybe, like a finger, or even an entire hand. Nah, many have survived far worse and can recover from such a wound. Now, if you ask me, kids, I say it was her severed head. Yes, a bloody, gruesome, severed head, with putrid pus, writhing and maggots, covered with foul, festering,
now,
grotesque...
Skater, stop scaring those kids. They do not need to be having no nightmares about severed, bloodied heads, dagnabbit. Sorry about that, kids. Pay no attention to him.
Oh, hello there, traveler. Apologies, I didn't notice you come in. Congratulations on making it this far. I trust you've been enjoying yourself, having a good time. Before beginning the second half of the 1-hour premiere, perhaps you need an intermission. Really, it's okay. Press pause if you need. Take a quick break and put your feet up. Maybe fix yourself a snack or a tasty beverage. I'll still be here when you get back. All finished? Feeling refreshed? Excellent. Let's proceed to the second half of the Dungeons and Vagabonds premiere episode.
The wagon arrives back at the gate just as the sun has set. After seeing the last patrol wagon return for the day, the guards sound the first curfew bell, signaling the closing of the outer gates. With the professor's disappearance or possible death weighing on them, many new questions are now seated in the adventurers' minds. They devise a plan of when and where to meet, then each head home to rest and prepare for tomorrow. Elton returns home to the dormitory located above the Church of Apollo near the west end of town. After tossing and turning for a few hours, he finally falls asleep despite the smell of rat feces still clinging to the inside of his nostrils. His dreams are littered with the occurrences from the day as he drifts between being back in the dilapidated hovel and still asleep at home. He feels a parallel between the position of his bed in his room and the position of the rat-infested cot in the professor's. The sounds of teeth gnawing on wood mixed with a high-pitched chittering pierce his ears. He awakens several times throughout the night expecting to find something crawling beneath his blanket or chewing on his bed frame, but it turns out to be nothing more than the floorboards creaking. At one point, out of the corner of his eye, he thinks he sees a rat standing at the base of his door, as if the creature was just watching or taunting him. But whenever he got up or focused his eyes, there was nothing to be found. Alia and Clem both return to their rooms at the Hunter's Lodge on the northeast end of town, and in turn experience their share of sleep disturbances. While writhing in bed, Alia remembers being inside the decrepit hovel earlier that day. In her dreams, she sees herself in third person, inspecting the nest in the main room of the hovel, as a large winged creature lurks above, ready to pounce. She attempts to scream out, yet she is unable to speak or warn herself of the danger. She wakes several times in a sweat, only to find her dream has not really ended, and she is still alone inside the hovel. This time, the very mold and decay of the structure seems to breathe and move with a life of its own. The floorboards and collapsed ceiling converge to form a large, jagged maw which bites at Alia in an attempt to consume her. By the time the sun has risen, she has barely slept an hour. Clem, on the next floor down, deals with his share of nightmares too. In his dream, the party is attacked by bandits while riding back home in the wagon. Much like the others, he continually experiences jolts of terror while asleep, forcing him to awaken abruptly. He tries repeatedly to fall back asleep, but the bandits await him and the party at each returning dream. Their swords and daggers tear and pierce his flesh, only to have him awaken and it all occur again. One time, it is even the 2 escorts from earlier who turn on the party and attack them on the road. By the time the bell tower rings and Clem realizes he is no longer dreaming, he finds Alia knocking at his door looking just as disheveled and sleep-deprived as himself. Orson's dreams are probably the most gruesome of all. He is haunted by images of the former queen, though she does not look like herself. Her eyes are dark, sunken in, yet omnipresent. Each time he tries to make contact, within moments her gaze locks onto his, and the frightening vision of the queen lets loose a ghostly wail. The shriek chills him to his bones, while the sound carries over and rings in his sagging ears for minutes after waking. The young lagomorph can't help but ponder Skeeter the escort's words. Visages of a headless corpse and floating spectral heads are interspersed between dreams, showcasing all the vile ways he can imagine the queen being tortured while imprisoned. Fearing imprisonment himself, he feels as if he is transported and shackled alongside her as she begs for her release, or a quick death.
Jacques' dreams, on the other hand, transport him back to the greatest and most joyous festival he can remember attending in years. In his dream, everyone was in attendance. His parents, dearest friends, extended rodent family, and every teacher in Simonia, including Professor Hoffenrichter. Jacques remembers the king and queen presiding over the festival, and not a single face was devoid of a smile.
Everyone feasts at a royal banquet, sampling the very best from all across the land.
The food is so decadent, so delicious, Jacques' taste buds virtually dance upon his tongue as he sleeps. He awakens feeling completely refreshed and ready to start the day, with the scent of cinnamon and taste of apple still saturating his senses, though Orson seems to have had a bad dream. Jacques crawls into Orson's pocket, reassuring him he mustn't face his problems alone. After Jacques' encouragement, Orson resolves to start the day with but a shred of optimism.
Okay, Jacques, you're right. With any luck, the professor will be found in good health.
That's the spirit, Orson. Carpe diem ad infinitum.
Which of course was muskrat Latin for seize the day, Orson, forevermore. Despite their fatigue, the party members gather for breakfast and plan to investigate the map further. By law in Fargyle, groups of armed travelers must pay for an adventurer's license, so they pay their fees and register at a nearby fighters' guild accordingly. Now, having gathered their equipment and procured a license, they continue on their way. Once at the west gate, they are stopped by a couple of guards who ask where they're going. They present their new adventurer badges with license number as well as the summons note with the hovel's address. Noticing the distance of their destination, and possibly due to their young age, the guards recommend that they obtain horses or hire an escort if they plan on traveling that far. About a block behind them on the main street, a wagon approaches. It is driven by the same 2 escorts that the students traveled with the other day, Peter and Skeeter. Alone in the back of the wagon sits a dark-furred tabaxi. As the wagon draws nearer, the drivers greet the familiar children who stand ahead of them at the gate.
Oh, hi again, kiddos.
Yeah, that's them. Same group of kids we took down there yesterday.
What? That is them? Stop the cart. We'll be back after these messages.
Hi, do you need a ride? Maybe just a lift through town. Hire an escort and we'll get you where you need to go. We have wagons stationed by both gates and near town hall and patrol daily. Don't want to be a burden? You're not. Really, we don't mind. Book a ride with a Simonian escort today, and we'll get you on your way.
Sunday. That's right. Opening their new location in the heart of the city. Raymond, Farrell. Fine linens and gay apparel. Fine collections from the latest and most esteemed designers, using only the finest in Simonian satin, silks, and of course, leather. We're all about meeting the public's demand, subverting trends and exceeding expectations. Now offering a free bikini wax and pint of coconut oil with every purchase. Raymond Farrell's fine linens and gay apparel. Get in with the latest fashions, or get out.
If you ever feel lost, and like all hope has faded, or your reason to believe is gone, think again, for salvation awaits you at the Church of Apollo. Surrender to destiny's will and Apollo's divine plan.
And now back to DNV.
The wagon comes to a halt as the tabaxi jumps out of the rear. His faded leather armor and salt-encrusted boots are indicative of a sailor or someone who has spent a significant amount of time at sea. He approaches the party clutching a framed painting under one arm. He proceeds to stare at them while he strokes his chin and whiskers in thought. Holding up the painting facing side towards him, he scans back and forth between it and looking at their faces.
Aha! Is you, yes? Look.
He then flips the framed painting around so it faces the party. It appears to be a picture of Professor Hoffenrichter surrounded by more than a dozen students as they all play various musical instruments. The rather tall feline continues.
This is you kids, yes? Me, Alcrive. And Alcrive not in smiley picture. But wow, you kids. Boy howdy, are you in it? Look, see?
Alcrive the tabaxi hands the framed picture over to the party for inspection. On the back, the signature, Frockus Silverbones. While studying it further, the party members realize that they all seem to be among the children depicted in this painting with their old teacher.
I wonder when this was done.
Town masters say you already get things from crate, and Skeeter here say yesterday kids go to Professor's home, yes? So, what kids find then? Please, must show Alcrive now.
The party members recall both Frockus and Alcrive's names being mentioned in the official summons note, but are hesitant about showing Alcrive everything, namely the map they found in the hidden compartment.
So who are you exactly, Mr. Alcrive, or do you have a last name?
Right, because if you're looking for some inheritance...
Oh, no. Apologies. You see, Alcrive was Professor Hoffenrichter's very best, very most favorite student, and by time Alcrive learned Professor's demise and reached town, kids already empty crate. Townmaster get painting for Alcrive, but now after seeing kids' smiley faces, Alcrive figure painting meant for kids, and kids maybe take what meant for Alcrive. Perhaps. So, what have for trade for smiley painting?
The party members feel this painting could be a clue of some sort, so they oblige and start to negotiate a trade. Still, not really sure who this Alcrive character is, they are reluctant to show or mention everything.
Dirty boots, 3 river rocks, no, this all junk. Alcrive think painting worth at least 10 silver. Maybe kids just pay Alcrive for...
But just then, the small clay flute catches Alcrive's eye as Aelia attempts to remove some mud packed inside.
What? Can it be? Yes, Alcrive's very first sun flute. Alcrive make in class with Professor. Because Alcrive not afford instrument like other kids. So the Hoff help make flute for Alcrive.
Aelia then hands the flute to the sobbing feline.
Thank you. You have done great deed for Alcrive. Please, take painting. And let Alcrive give you this too.
He pulls out 10 gold pieces from his belt pouch and gives it to the party. He stows the flute and begins to collect himself, wiping the tears from his face.
So, I reckon you and old Hoffenrichter were thick as thieves, huh?
Indeed. Han's no thief, but yes. Surely Professor must have mentioned Alcrive, no?
I'm just not sure why everyone is so quick to assume the Hoff is dead. Why wouldn't someone be investigating this?
Hey, Alcrive, do you have any special skills or know of anyone who could help with investigating Hoffenrichter's disappearance?
Investigation? Yes, something Alcrive know all about. Do kids have paper and ink? Always take notes during investigation. Something that not seem important likely turn out to be important.
Alcrive then takes out what would resemble a small legal pad and inkwell and uses his index claw to scratch in the PC's names. They talk for a bit and tell Alcrive they didn't find anything else inside the hovel yesterday, but were thinking of going back one more time tonight to say farewell. Alcrive says he will pass on visiting the hovel tonight, since the kids have already searched the day prior, but mentions he will be staying at the Oak Umbra Lodge in the West Slums until further notice. He says to come see him if they find anything else, and then walks back over to the 2 escorts in the wagon.
Thank you, Skeeter. But Alcrive guess Alcrive not going to that address now. Please take for yesterday tolerating kids.
He hands the escorts a few coins and departs, walking towards a nearby tavern. After Alcrive has left, the party asks the escorts if they can get another ride to the hovel. Although not required, they offer to pay the escorts 5 silver pieces up front.
And no need to wait with us this time. We remembered our blankets and our bedrolls.
Yep, we're all set. Figured we'd stay the night and say goodbye to the old place.
So, the party members climb into the back of the wagon and head outside the city once again. They take the same road as before, passing through the West Slums and then skirting along the coast. The sky is much more cloudy today than yesterday, and a storm moves in from the south. After about 20 minutes of travel, thunder can be heard in the distance and the first drops of rain begin to fall. Before reaching their destination, a very large bird blocks the path, just as the hovel is within eyesight of the wagon. The 2-legged creature stands nearly 6 feet tall, is covered with bright red feathers, and has a beak shaped like a shovel or flattened axe blade. It stands in the center of the path, with its back turned to the wagon, as it picks at a sea turtle carcass on the side of the road. Peter readies his crossbow and Skeeter brings the wagon to a halt.
It's all right, I got this.
Skeeter climbs out of the wagon and slowly creeps up on the large bird. Peter then speaks to the party in a hushed tone while still covering Skeeter.
All right, just stay calm, kids. What we got here is an axe bill.
Wait, are you allowed to shoot those?
Actually, yeah. Wouldn't recommend eating one, though. They're a bit stringy. They're not local to these parts, ever since a mess of them was brought over here from Wexart for last year's festival. Strays been causing commotion and destruction for the farmers up here. Not too dangerous by their lonesome, but beware should you ever encounter them in large numbers.
Oh, I think I remember reading about them in class.
Skeeter continues to sneak up until he is about 20 feet behind the axe bill. He then springs up, jumping into the air and flailing his arms about, all while barking like a madman.
Yeah, now go on, yeah, get, come on, get on, yeah, here, now, go on, get.
Completely startled, the axe bill becomes frightened and darts off over the hill to the north. Skeeter climbs back into the wagon, and the group resumes course along the coastline. The gentle rain creates a foggy haze, and the smell of seawater drifts through the air. Within another 20 minutes, they reach the ramshackle structure. As the escorts are leaving the party members, they remind them to stay on the main roads and to avoid travel at night.
And remember, kids, guards patrol these roads daily, so if need be, you can always hitch a ride back with one of them tomorrow, if you don't feel like walking.
We'll be back after these messages.
Huh? Do you need a ride somewhere? Or maybe you're already somewhere and you just need a ride home? Well then, wave down the next escort you see, and we'll be happy to get you on your way.
Deep, rich, complex, smoky, and sweet. A biscuity malt beverage with both breadth and gravity. Maverick's Bitter Dark, the ale that bites back. Yeah. Fermented with twice the unmalted barley, roasted to perfection, resulting in a brew with 60% more body and 70% more mouth-chewing goodness. Maverick's Bitter Dark. Get some.
Hey there, travelers. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you're having a good time.
Remember to click like and subscribe to the page, and support us on Patreon to unlock exclusive perks, like behind-the-scenes content and continually updated character sheets.
Yeah, and don't tell Clem, but my character sheet is kinda better than his.
Hey, I heard that. But rest assured, what my character sheet lacks, I make up for in style. And remember this conversation the next time you need a lock picked, or someone to teach you how to play pinochle.
Indeed. And now on with the show.
The group waits until the wagon is out of sight, then begins to follow the map. It leads them another mile down the coast and towards a hilly woodland to the west. A serenade of distant thunder and pattering rain envelops the group of friends as they set out to solve the mystery of Hoffenrichter's disappearance. The adventuring party continues to trudge up the sandy beach, their feet sinking deep into the soft grains as they approach the base of the hillside. They begin to see a set of footprints in the sand, partially washed away by the rising tide and the increasing rainfall. The footprints point in the same direction indicated on the map, so the party continues to follow them. About 60 feet ahead, they see a dank burrow with two separate entrances. One looks overgrown with moss, foliage, and overhanging roots, whereas the other has a patch of freshly cut overgrowth at the base of the entrance. While inspecting the footprints, the party notices the tracks start off as a single set, but then diverge into several, all leading into the closer burrow entrance with the freshly cut foliage. Strange sounds can be heard echoing from within the tunnels, like something heavy plopping into the mud, interspersed with very distant chatter.
Shh, quietly. Sounds like someone's in there.
Alia and Clem, both having dark vision, take the lead and remain some distance ahead, while Orson casts the light cantrip on Elton's shield, illuminating the path for them. The party cautiously ventures into the rightmost entryway. The tunnel is approximately 5 feet in diameter, with hanging roots dripping with rain and condensation. Further into the tunnel, they notice several gray, earthy mounds scattered throughout. They inspect some of these piles and notice that they are made of a powdery dirt or clay-like substance, much different than the surrounding earth or tunnel walls. Nestled in one of these piles is a tiny object shaped like a centipede carapace. Clem attempts to pick it up, but it crumbles to dust in his hands, leaving a white powdery stain on his gloves. Touching a bit to his tongue, the taste is akin to stone or mortar. Following this path, they encounter several more of these gray piles, until the tunnel forks off into two separate directions. Continuing to follow the path to the right, it opens up into a wide chamber, extending back more than 60 feet. The walls and ceiling of this dome-shaped cavern range between 5 feet high on its borders and 10 feet high in its center. Amidst the many hanging roots, several stationary objects or silhouettes can be seen inside the chamber, most of them humanoid in shape and size. Upon closer inspection, the objects are actually stone figures or statues. Some of them are fully intact, whereas others are missing entire limbs.
Hey guys, over here.
Elton directs his glowing shield into the chamber for a better look. With its light, the statues reveal evidence of either bite or claw marks in most of them. While looking for more clues and identifying features, the party takes note of the following statues inside the cave. There are several young maidens in commoner clothing, bowing their heads and with their hands clasped behind their backs. One statue smaller than the others, likely a gnome or halfling but missing its head. There is one of a human woman who is holding a shield. Her opposite arm is missing from the elbow down. There is a robed man with mouth agape and arms outstretched, and a slightly smaller figure crouched just behind him, with a tunic displaying the seal of Simonia. Both seem to have elvish facial features. Within a few minutes, the party comes across one more statue located in the back of the chamber. This statue holds onto the wall with one extended arm and occludes his face with the other hand, but somehow looks awfully familiar. In fact, the familiar statue looks exactly like Professor Hoffenrichter. Yes, the likeness is too perfect. This must actually be him. But how is that possible? In fact, could all of the statues down here actually have been living beings at one time who were somehow turned to stone? A small basket can be seen beside Hoffenrichter's statue, halfway buried in the dirt. Still tucked inside the wicker basket is a note, written in the professor's handwriting. Till morrow's debt renown. The only words written on the back of another piece of sheet music. While inspecting the note, the party begins to hear something approaching.
Shh! Everyone, stay vigilant!
Ooh, lights out.
Orson dismisses the light cantrip on Elton's shield. Quickly, the four try to hide, using the statues and hanging roots along the walls for cover. The sounds of slithering and scraping along the tunnel walls outside the entryway are heard as a creature rears its head and steps into the chamber. Its eyes glow a faint blue-green and a string of saliva dangles from its fanged maw. Dozens of horn-like scales cover the top of its head and trace down its back and tail. 2 reptilian claws at the end of short, stout limbs enter the room, followed by 2 more, and 2 more, until finally, an 8-legged lizard-like monstrosity with glowing eyes, sharp teeth and claws, and a stubby spiked tail stands blocking the only way in or out of the chamber. The creature's head remains close to the ground, sniffing and licking in the dirt as it slowly slinks towards the party. Roll initiative.
Well, that about wraps things up for tonight.
Wait, what happens next? How does the party deal with the basilisk? I mean, there was a basilisk in the chamber with them, right?
Oh, Thomas, don't you realize? People gotta subscribe to get access to that content.
Oh, yeah, that's right, Jerry, I forgot. And ring the bell to be notified of all newly posted content, right? I better go do that right now, before I forget again.
Yeah, good idea, Thomas. That way we can all find out what happens next. I personally am thinking at least one of those youngsters may not make it.
I guess we'll have to see then, huh, Jerry? Now let's roll the credits.
Indeed. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you next time on the Dungeons and the Vagabonds.